It never made sense, and this is one of the things that came out of the WTO, that you would not negotiate labor and environmental protections as an essential part of trade. If you're setting up the rules for the global economy and talking about intellectual property and talking about investor rights and all of those things, then certainly the rights of workers and efforts to protect the environment should be part of that discussion. We've got a lot of trade agreements that are hanging out there not being acted on. That's unfortunate, particularly in the case of Korea, because Korea is a huge economic trading partner.
These stories give way to the truth if you dig deep enough to the proof of a moral obligation that's lost in the process of trying to compete for the deepest of pockets for profit. And labor that comes cheap to slopes that are too steep, and some is just out of reach. Listen to the language, cause it's hard to speak, and it's socially constructed to name and delete, to cheat, to trick and deceive, to create the need for things that we see. Handmade free trade, keep taking advantage of the people who seem weak, the people with real need. There's more dollar bills in the pockets of the still rich, the same ones that hand stitch the seams of the sickness and hone in on kids that'll work for the cheapest and say they're better off than they were without this. The shirts that we're wearing tell a story, the shoes, the fabric that rests on my back hold the clues, and the threads holding tight to these seams. That's the threshold that hides what is not that we see. The shirts that we're wearing tell a story, the shoes, the fabric that rests on my back, the clues, and the threads holding tight to these seams. That's the threshold that hides what is not that we see. These stories give way to the truth, to the struggles, the loss, to choose to not to